This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, massive changes in the college football landscape. The Ducks are on the move, leaving the Beavers as one of the few teams left in the Pac-12. Plus, a case of vandalism at Lansu Chinese Garden. Why detectives are investigating it as a possible hate crime. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Daisy Caballero, who's here with our Saturday forecast. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Tim. And yeah, good morning to all of our viewers. If you guys haven't stepped outside yet, we do have some showers, light showers passing through, mainly just isolated in Southwest Washington, but we are actually starting to see a little bit of that action. The National Weather Service saying we could potentially have already seen 1/10,000th of an inch. If you don't know that number, it's probably just a trace. Better said, we are 69 degrees here in the Rose City. Winds coming out from the north-northwest at right about 3 miles an hour. The rest of our current temperatures, we are in the 60s for the most part. 68 degrees in Forest Grove, 67 in Hillsborough, 68 for Troutdale, and we are actually seeing those 70s as we're looking at the Dalles. Here's your day at a glance. We'll be warming up into those mid-70s by noon, mostly cloudy skies, and we will see a little bit of that clearing. We will see that sun kind of peek through, but for the most part, it will be a cloudy day, but I'll have that full forecast coming up.
All right, Daisy, thanks a lot. And the weather will be a big factor in Linn County this weekend. That's because a fire broke out there on Friday afternoon and has now burned more than 2,000 acres. This has been named the Priceboro Fire. Some 60 homes are now under level 3 go now evacuation orders around Mount Tom Drive. That's about 9 miles east of Harrisburg on the east side of I-5. Now, this video shows crews battling those flames from both the ground and the air. The Linn County Sheriff's Office says there's an emergency shelter for anyone who needs it at the Linn County Fairgrounds. So far, officials say the fire has not reached any houses, and at this point, no word on the cause. Well, it is a seismic shift in the world of college athletics. The University of Oregon and the University of Washington are joining the Big Ten Conference after more than a century in the Pac-12. The decision capped off a roller coaster of a day. Orlando Sanchez walks us through how all this happened and what's next for the two schools.
It's the end of an era.
It sets us up for the future in this changing landscape.
Oregon is leaving the Pac-12.
We've done everything we could to find an opportunity forward with the Pac-12.
Ending a relationship that goes back more than a century.
I'm proposing that we assign our granting rights to the Big Ten Conference.
University of Oregon Board of Trustees voting unanimously to join the Big Ten Conference.
Aye.
Madison.
Aye.
The move goes into effect in August of 2024. Money at the center of it. U of O President Carl Schulz.
Over the 10 years of the deal, we anticipate averaging over $50 million just from direct media rights.
The final straw coming after the Pac-12 failed to finalize a new media deal on par with the top conferences around the country. Media deals are a key part of revenue, money that helps fund the entire athletic department, and it impacts exposure, how fans watch games. In Eugene, there's a positive vibe on campus.
They'll have a lot more competition in Big Ten, and there'll be a lot more teams.
This is exciting, and I think that what it's going to do on a national level for exposure for these schools that are transferring from the Pac-12 is going to be a positive.
There's no doubt this impacts the schedule and opponents. It also puts rivalry games in jeopardy. The Ducks and Beavers have been playing against each other on the football field since the late 1800s. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullins.
Our goal would be to schedule Oregon State in every sport that's possible.
In a statement from the Pac-12, it calls the move incredibly disappointing, referencing the 100-year history, tradition, and rivalries. Now Oregon is just one of many schools saying goodbye to the Conference of Champions.
This is a conference that has just done so much wrong over the years. I mean, you can go back to Larry Scott's tenure and 11 years of mismanagement, and really the road to today being set by the former commissioner.
Columnist and radio host John Canzano says the fall of the Pac-12 didn't happen overnight.
the loss of USC and UCLA really dates back a decade when the members in the conference decided that they wanted equal revenue sharing, and they voted against the LA schools. I also put some of this on George Kliavkoff, the Pac-12 commissioner. Look, he inherited this job. He should have been camped on USC's lawn, making sure they didn't leave. He lost USC, he lost UCLA, he lost Colorado.
Well, the departure of the Ducks and Huskies was followed a few hours later by more Pac-12 schools leaving for the Big 12 Conference. It leaves 4 schools remaining in the Pac-12, including Oregon State and Washington State. The loss of their rivals means games like the Apple Cup and the Oregon State rivalry game could no longer be annual events. We talked to Beavers fans in Corvallis about the news.
Not super thrilled about it. I liked our conference. Thought it was competitive. We had some good games, some good rivalries for sure.
I think there's more important things in life than just money, like tradition, rivalries, and something that we can always count on as a state, as the fabric of who we are as Oregon.
Yeah, money will be a big factor in what happens next for the Beavs and the Cougs. Both schools are paying debt on stadium upgrades, and athletic departments are not cheap to run. Again, we'll see the Pac-12 together for one more school year before everything changes next August. Well, we are following new developments in the case of a man officials say kidnapped a Seattle woman and locked her in a cinder block cell at his home in Klamath Falls. According to court records, Degassi Zuberi also allegedly attacked, abused, and threatened to kill another woman before she sought a protective order against him 3 years ago. The restraining order, filed in California in 2020, stated Zuberi had 2 children with that woman. Zuberi has lived in 10 states in the last 10 years, including some time living here locally in Clark County. His former neighbor in Klamath Falls says she's shocked to hear all the details in the case, but there were definitely some red flags in how Zuberi interacted with his partner.
To say that I'm surprised about the charges, what he's charged with, yes, I'm surprised but in the sense of the fact of disrespecting women, I'm not surprised, in that, like that what it's rooted in and treating women like they're beneath.
In addition to the recent Klamath Falls kidnapping, detectives say they've tied Zuberi to 3 more sexual assaults in other states and believe there could be more. Well, Portland police are trying to determine whether an act of vandalism at the Lansu Chinese Garden may have been a bias crime. Right now, they're not ruling it out, but say that they haven't found evidence that points to that. Someone shattered a window in the garden's tea house Thursday night with a piece of granite. The garden's director says she believes it was a hate crime with the city's Chinese festival happening this weekend.